What if everything we've been told about human history is only a fragment of a much deeper truth? Imagine a scroll, hidden for centuries in the shadowed vaults of an ancient monastery, its language cryptic, its contents protected by oaths older than civilization itself. A scroll so controversial, so revelatory, that even whispering its name was once considered heresy. Welcome, Seeker. You are no longer on the surface of the story. You are descending now into something far older. Before Atlantis sank into myth, before Sumer carved symbols into clay, before even the first spark of fire flickered in human hands, there was a beginning. But not the one we know. In this episode, we unveil what may be one of the most dangerous and astonishing pieces of forgotten knowledge. A forbidden scroll said to reveal humanity's true origins. A tale of cosmic ancestry, spiritual exile, and the hidden war to keep this knowledge from awakening the sleeping soul of mankind. Stay with me, because by the end, you might never see yourself, or this world, the same way again. The scroll in question is known in certain Gnostic and esoteric circles as the Codex of Lightfall, a name given not by historians, but by mystics. The original title is lost to time, written in a pre-Sumerian dialect that bears resemblance to both Proto-Indo-European roots and obscure Enochian glyphs. Whispers of its existence surfaced during the early 20th century through the journals of a renegade scholar named Laurent Duval, who claimed to have discovered fragments in a forgotten temple beneath the sands of the Taklamakan Desert, a place locals still call the silent mouth of the world. But here's the catch. The Codex was never about archaeological proof. It was about initiation. According to those who have read even parts of it, the scroll does not merely tell a story. It transmits a frequency, encoded in metaphor, geometry, and sound. Its purpose is not to inform, but to awaken. So what does it say? That humanity did not evolve as a linear progression from apes to modern man. It claims we are the fragmented descendants of luminal beings, entities of pure consciousness who once existed in a state of unified awareness beyond space and time. These beings, the Elohim of the inner light, did not fall in a biblical sense, but fractured themselves willingly, embedding aspects of their essence into a material plane in order to explore separation, duality, and transformation. In other words, we are not evolving up from the animal. We are returning to what we chose to forget. But this knowledge was dangerous, because those who understood it, prophets, mystics, rebel sages, began to awaken others, and those who ruled through fear and ignorance could not allow that. The Codex was banned, burned, buried, until now. The scroll describes a cosmic event called the Sundering of the Veil, a metaphysical act where the unified source fractured into countless sparks, like a mirror dropped across dimensions. Each of us is one of these sparks, consciousness clothed in flesh, memory veiled by the limitations of time and ego. But why forget? Why undergo this cosmic amnesia? The Codex explains that the soul sought experience. It longed to know what it was not in order to fully rediscover what it is. Creation, then, is not a punishment, but a play, a labyrinth, a sacred game of remembrance. We became many to remember we are one. But as eons passed, the memory of our origin dimmed. Civilizations rose and fell. The Lemurians remembered the stars. The Atlanteans mastered thought into matter. But each epoch fell into hubris, mistaking power for purpose. And so, guardians arose, keepers of the hidden flame, to protect the memory until humanity would be ready once again. They encrypted the truth into symbols, myths, and languages, the serpent and the tree, the eye in the pyramid, the lotus in the mud, each a breadcrumb leading back to the origin. But over time, forces arose that did not want us to remember. Forces that feed on division, fear, and control. The Codex calls them the architects of forgetting, entities not evil, but born of stagnation. They exist wherever truth is turned into dogma and spirit is replaced by system. Their greatest weapon? Convincing us that we are only bodies, that the divine is outside us, that death is the end, that suffering is random. But the scroll says otherwise. It says we are dreaming gods, waking slowly. So what does this mean for you, the listener? Why does it matter? Because the scroll doesn't just talk about origins, it offers a map back to remembrance. A path known as the spiral way, a symbolic journey inward, where one must peel away the layers of identity, fear, and conditioning to reclaim their true self. It begins with awareness, practices of presence, and inner stillness. The scroll speaks of vibrational unlocking, sacred sound frequencies capable of dissolving the sleep code in the etheric body. Mantras, symbols, and geometries were all part of this forgotten technology of soul awakening. Then comes the confrontation with the false self, a process described in metaphor as passing through the fire mirror. In practical terms, this is shadow work, self-inquiry, radical honesty. It is the courage to ask, who am I beyond all story? Those who reach this point begin to experience what mystics call the second sight, an intuitive clarity, a sense of guidance beyond logic, and a deep remembering not of information, but of essence. But the scroll warns, this path is not for all at once. It must begin with the few, the seekers, the edge walkers, because remembrance destabilizes the current world order. It threatens not just religion or politics, but the entire illusion of separateness. And yet, it also promises peace. Not the peace of numbness, but the peace of knowing. Knowing you are more than this life, that you chose this moment, that awakening is not an escape, but the beginning of true responsibility. The forbidden scroll may never be found in a museum or textbook. Its language may never be fully decoded, but its message lives on, in myths, in your dreams, in the quiet pull of your heart, asking, is there more? Yes, there is more, and perhaps you were meant to remember it now. So I leave you with a question that has no easy answer, but every soul must face it eventually. What if you are not becoming something greater, but remembering what you already are? If this journey stirred something within you, share this message. Comment below with your thoughts or your memories, dreams you've had, questions you've carried. We are all fragments of the same forgotten scroll, waiting to be read again. Until next time, walk gently, remember boldly, and never stop seeking.